Hey parents, who's to blame? If you're the parent of a Gen Z, someone between the ages of 14 and 28, you already know that as a generation, they're struggling as they're entering the workforce or as they've entered the workforce. In fact, there's a high number of people in that generation that are actually failing as they enter the workforce. Well, why? What's the reason? Well, the reason is something I call the gap. And the gap is the difference between what Gen Z or any employee or entrepreneur needs to be bringing as they enter the workforce as far as the tools and skills and attributes and what Gen Z is actually bringing. That's called the gap. And the gap is what's hurting them. Who's to blame? Well, we don't want to look at that today. What we want to look at is where do we go from here? How do we help them fill that gap and enter the workforce successfully? Now, the reality is we're all dealt a hand in life. And most of us would love it to look something like this. A royal flush, a 10, a jack, a queen, a king, and an ace, all of the same suit. Wouldn't that make life easy? It would, but that's not how most of us are dealt. That's not the hand that we get. Here's how it looks for most of us. A mismatch of numbers and suits, where it seems like nothing comes easy. And that's okay, because the reality is, a good poker player, if they've got the tools and the skills that they need, they can take almost any hand that they're dealt and play it successfully. And if you can help your son, your daughter, take the right tools and skills and apply them, they can successfully play any hand that they've been dealt in life as well. They can enter the workforce successfully. And that's why I wrote the book, Fill the Gap. How Gen Z can enter the workforce with competence and with confidence. There's one written specifically for Gen Z to read or listen to and apply. And there's one written specifically for you, parents, so you can help prepare your teens and preteens for when they enter the workforce. My name's Todd Reimer, and I'm a dad to 3 young adults, 3 Gen Zs, so I have a definite vested interest in this generation. At the same time, I'm also a leadership coach and trainer and an employer, so I see it from that perspective. What I see is that the challenges are not small, but neither are your sons or daughters. They've got as much potential as anybody. Help them fill that gap. Just go to www.youfillthegap.com and pick up your copies of Fill the Gap. You're going to see your son, your daughter, be prepared to play any hand they're dealt. Help them fill the gap.